Hello friends, today we are here to talk about self-realization with the help of astrology. Astrology can help people a lot if they are interested in self-realization. Under the expression self-realization, we understand the fulfillment of oneself by using all life potentials for the personal and general life growth. In that sense that one can feel the authenticity of him, herself, and his or her existence. This further can lead into a liberation and better understanding of higher self. This concept helps a man to see that he or she does not live only to make money or does not live to struggle to survive, that he can do more than that. Self-realization is tightly connected with the professional life. But those two things are not the same. Also, let me mention that widening of consciousness goes hand in hand with the process of self-realization. Not necessarily, not always, but very often. So if now someone says, I would like to realize myself through the partnership or family life, that is slightly different thing. Because for that you would need other people, and we are here to talk about that, what a man or a woman can achieve through her own potentials. So the question is, what do we look at in astrology, in horoscope, if we want to help somebody in his aiming for self-realization? So we are going to look at his ascendant, because ascendant will say a lot about the life path and also about professional life, and also about a man's attitude towards life and oneself. Of course, ascendant, as any other element of horoscope, will speak only about possibilities. It is only up to you to develop those possibilities. Even if we see that there are hard aspects and that there is a struggle, you can overcome all hard aspects and you can struggle maybe for some period in your life until you become conscious of those things. From the moment when you are conscious, actually all blockages can, in many ways, can disappear, not always. So then we will look at Sun. Sun will say always about your greatest love potential. You can always grow through your Sun. Sun can give you inspiration for this lifetime and give you joy. Then it will be very interesting, the second astrological house, because the second house will speak about abilities, about your talents, about that what you have as a gift that you got in this life here, to use it to earn money even. So the second house is important for talents and abilities, and also those talents that you can use to make money. Then we would look at lunar nodes, because lunar nodes will speak about the ultimate need of your soul. So through nodes we see what is the biggest desire that your soul needs to do and to achieve in this lifetime. Because when soul does this, it grows. So it's always good to look at nodes, especially at the position of the north node, because you will always wish to go into this direction. Then we would have a look at Jupiter, because Jupiter is always shows the place where things come easy and they always make sense even. Of course, astrology would point also, if a client is interested, and she should be, astrology will point also to some restrictions and obstacles that we are facing and that we should overcome if we are interested in achieving big results in life. So Saturn is basically that what we see in fairy tales, when the prince go to his journey. On that journey he met different creatures, and those creatures create obstacles, and they want the prince to do some tasks and to show that he is able to master himself and to overcome those obstacles. So when we well integrate the energy of Saturn, we become masters in certain area of our life, or generally we are then mastering ourselves. So it is extremely important to work with the energy of Saturn. To work with the energy of Saturn, one needs introspection and discipline, which is not always easy to achieve. And that is basically the thing that most of the Eastern spiritual techniques include. So the introspection actually works, first of all, at the beginning with the energy of Saturn. The question is, would Mars, planet of Mars, help those who are interested in self-realization, of course, in some way, because it is a will to do something, but to have too much will, it's also not necessarily. It can even be destructive. So if one wants to achieve things, and then he always reminds himself, I have to do this, that can be even that can even give bad results. So it's not necessarily to push things that much. Here I would like to say a few words about my opinion about bad usage of astrology. So people often consult astrologers with the question what will happen to them or whether something will happen to them. Astrologers then invent something, often because they know what people want to hear. Clients believe that's true because they want to believe in that, and that's how this circle closes. So the next question would be, why do people solve their issues in that way? Why do they want somebody else to tell them what to do and if they're able to do that? Well, the answer can be perhaps because they're too unhappy, or because they're lazy to work on themselves, or because they suppress their own needs so much, or the society suppress their needs. The society suppress themselves, or their families, that they are not able to establish the connection with themselves, so they are not able to answer to their own questions. Let me also say that astrology predicts around 60%. This, what people who have astrological programs and softwares, they say so. There are people who measure a lot those things. So if you wish somebody to predict your future in today's time, you can order such programs. You can order such readings, but those readings will also not tell you whether something will happen with you. Those readings will tell you only when you have big possibility for something, and you can go into that. Nevertheless, astrology can predict, but not in the way as many people expect. So let's say, for example, if you are Aquarius, you have planets, any planet, especially personal planets, on the first degrees of Aquarius. And we know that Pluto will enter the Aquarius sign in the year 2023. So in that case, astrologer sees clearly that in those years you are going to go through the biggest life transformation that will be preparing before even. And those transformations will be so radical that maybe in some moments you will feel that you are fighting for your life. And astrologer can tell you, of course, how to integrate the energy of Pluto. Most probably astrologers said just trust the process, let the things go. Many things will, of course, in that period disappear from your life. Your life will not be as before, and you need to find your new expression in the years to come. An astrologer can tell you in which area of life will that be, which is the best way to work with this energy, which results you can have in you work in that direction, and why. So when we speak about astrology in this way, we understand that of course astrology can do a big job, just we need to know to use it in a proper way. Okay, so small resume about astrology would be it is very useful to point where your blockages are, to tell you how to work with those blockages. It can also point possibilities that you have in your life. It can tell you about the energy that you have in this position that you can use. Then it can also tell you when will certain transits come, and those transits will point when is the time to release some energy in this or that way, and to be active or passive and things like that. Astrology cannot fast and easily remove blockages and prejudice that you have, And for that thing, I then later, with my clients, I use Theta Healing. Theta Healing is a modern method that can help you to remove different blockages and to develop your personality in the wishable way. And of course, there are even other techniques. I'm using Theta Healing, but everyone has his own technique. So you can work further after using astrology with many different methods. But let's go back now to self-realization. There are some rules that are quite simple if you are interested in that, to start working on yourself and to realize and express yourself fully in this life. So first of all, you have to free yourself. Freedom is the most important thing. And then after that, you need to accept the responsibility for yourself, to be ready to be responsible for everything what you do later. Don't expect help from others. You just decide to be responsible for yourself. This is like some adult part of us. But you can also use childish part of yourself. It means on the way of self-realization, everyone should know how to play, because things do not go direct. So you try one thing, you try another thing, you just play a little bit with all possibilities you have. Then if you start anything new, for example, you start new project, company, or whatever you're interested in, or to learn new things that you will use later, we know that usually it lasts 2 years until some new energy settles. So give yourself time, at least 2 years. And what I would especially like to stress here, what I think is actually the most important thing, devote to that what you want to do, to want to achieve, in that those things that you want to realize yourself through, devote to that 8 to 10 hours daily. Use the same energy and the same time as you're using perhaps now if you work for some company, if you're employee in somebody else's company, if you work for corporation. So that much energy that you give to others now, give to yourself and do those things that you're interested in. And you will see great results. The next question can be, when is the best time to start the process of self-realization? Of course, the answer is anytime. It is always good time. Sometimes, for some people, it's useful. Are useful those times that we call crisis times of crisis, or so-called hard times. It means these are periods in life when you feel that things are falling apart. When after the end of the relationship, or when people are exhausted, or people are even ill, then those moments come, and then people say, oh, I can't go this way anymore. So these are perfect moments to see what actually you would like to do, and to maybe have more, let's say, you are more brave to go into new things than before. Yeah, you are tired of everything, and then you say, okay, I'm ready now for something new. It can be a good moment, but many people don't need crisis to see what they really would like to do in this lifetime, and they just go into that. The next question can be, for example, why would somebody aim at self-realization? Why would somebody do that? Well, to be free, one thing, to be free person, then to express oneself freely, to create, just to create or to co-create with this universe, to find out what is authentic, for example, in yourself, then to be Lord of your own time. That's a mastering of life when you are a Lord of your time. To live in accord with one's integrity. It means you have your integrity. Nobody says what you are, what you have. You know what you are and what you have. To explore life with joy, and so on. So I think we have quite many reasons for that. I would like also to stress here that in many West European cultures, or those who were established on the basis of Western European culture, and also in many political regimes, they were usually short, but in other political regimes out of the Western European culture, uh, people were suppressed. So the creativity and freedom were suppressed, sometimes for centuries. And this could be the reason why many people cannot come to themselves. They're so confused, their culture confuses them so much that they can't find the way to themselves. And of course, it was not in the past, not now. This concept of self-realization is actually not very politically correct. Yeah? So it's not only the problem of today's time, it was always, and in many cultures. So one who wants to work, who wants to live in this life in that way, in the direction of self-realization, has to be ready also to find obstacles in this political area even. So in our time, many people work for corporations, and the system of corporations suppresses self-realization, self-expression, and the freedom of spirit. So actually corporations in today's time do the same job as other institutions were doing in some countries, in some cultures in the past of humanity. But I have many clients and I know many people who stopped working for corporative jobs and who are on their way, and they're looking for the way of self-realization. They're looking for that, what they can do and how they can present themselves to themselves and to the world in a different way. And I hope this is fantastic thing, and I hope there are going to be more and more people in the future who will function in this way. So self-realization in our time um, has some interesting moments. So what they are, we can in today's time we can fortunately do what we want by sitting at home or at the beach or in the forest and present those things that we create through internet, because we simply still have internet in this form as we have it. We will see. Hopefully, it will be in the future. And in this way, we present some things, through that what we create, and then we make our nests of people. So we create our co-workers. We can connect with people. So you basically the idea can be you do whatever you want, you present it through internet, and then you find people that you can connect with and actually work with in the future or create with or sell product if you want. So yes, in those processes we said astrology can be helpful, and I'm preparing in the future astrology lessons. Now I'm preparing astrology lessons for beginners that you can buy for a very small price, and I believe can help you in your process of learning about yourself and about that how in the best manner you can realize yourself and your life potentials in this lifetime. So follow my website, Symbolic Thinking, to see what is happening. Of course, I will announce those lessons via YouTube also. For now, if you are interested in learning about yourself, and if you are interested about self-realization process, feel free to order personal consultations with me. I would recommend to you to choose some of those questions. So we can talk about the sun, position of sun in your horoscope. We can talk more about the second house, as I mentioned before, that will say to us a lot about your talents, creative talents and possibilities you have to make money. Then we can talk about Saturn, which brings obstacles. This Saturn is, of course, the opposite of Sun. So they are like the beauty and the beast of ourselves. We need to understand them both. Then we can talk about Jupiter in your natal chart to see what gives meaning to everything. And you can also order consultations on the topic about the purpose of your existence. I have one reading that I'm doing on the base of old Indian techniques. And that's all for now. You can also follow blog on my web Symbolic Thinking, my posts on Facebook, and so on. So if you like the video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for that in advance. So until next time, I wish you to find your authentic self, to be brave and to start the process of self-realization.